Okay, so today we're using the lighter colors first, and we're dabbing them down on our portrait like we did in class, making spots, but these are a little more precise and more like when we did our monochromatic portrait or picture. So I'm thinking of just where the shadows are, and I'm finding all those areas, and so we're starting with the lightest tone of the shadow, and we're just building up from there. I'm not doing it as exactly how I did with the monochromatic. I'm doing it a lot more spotty, similar to our project in class where we made more patterns to fill the portrait. Um, so then this will get covered with this nice, because yellow is our lightest tone of color. That's what I started with, and so I'll just cover those areas that have that lighter tone. And then I'll build up from there with a darker tone. So I'm using just a yellow, and this is just from the basic color of from the tube, basically. I didn't mix it with any other color, but the other colors that I'm going to use in the next uh, color will be mixed. So I'm doing a lot of exploring with mixing colors to achieve a different tone, and it allows me to have some variety. So this one was a orange mixed with some red, I believe, and that was to get my second tone, my second darker from the lightest tone. So now I'm filling in areas that I see that have those darker tones. Again, doing it a little bit more like a spotty pattern rather than more precise how we did with the monochromatic drawing. And I'm not painting the image of that so I have an image of a coyote. This is a coyote, and I'm not painting exactly what it looks like. I'm actually trying to stylize it a bit, so that's where these colors are not exactly what I see on the photograph, and I will, so that's just trying to get a little bit different style here. And this is a wet on dry technique, so I'm have wet paint but dry paper to work on. So the marks that I make don't move as much as like a wet on wet technique. So I'm not only looking at the fur, but I also can find those detailed areas like the eye and build those up with the shadow tone. The coyote, I guess I was a little homesick. There was a coyote that lived at my mom's house, so I guess I was inspired by that for this portrait. Um, so she was a pretty cool animal, just catching all the pocket gophers for my mom, because there's a lot of pocket gophers on the prairies in northern Idaho. So now I've created an even darker tone. This one was a mixture of a brown with some purple. So now I'm going back. So this is my third color. Again, I'm just thinking of tone rather than color as much as hue. But the hues are also important, so all these hues are similar in value. It's yellows, it's in the warm color story. And just building up those shaded areas again, and and adding texture to the image. So these are our first few layers to create this portrait of a coyote. Again, this brownish color is browny purple. You can't see it quite as well on this image, but there's definitely a purple that I mixed with the brown. So it's a good opportunity doing this project to just try mixing colors as well. Allows you to explore that and see how different colors interact with each other. So coyotes are an orangey yellow color. So obviously this color story I chose relates to that coyote colors, but they aren't precisely what I'm seeing in the photograph. So now I've created an even darker color. This is also purple. Started with a dark purple, and then combined it with some blacks and grays. And possibly even a dark blue was added to that. I should have a better understanding of the names of my colors. I apologize for that, but the colors that I have don't have their individual named. It's just this collection. As you can see, the circle pad of colors. So now I'm going in with, this is my darkest color that I'll use, and I'm making it a lot more detailed. I'm adding more details. I'm going back to find areas, like the eye, and making those more precise details to really give the portrait more life and shape. So the lines are going to be a little more like, just like a line drawing, basically. So I'm using my brush to create these line drawings to also give the texture, like more of the fur effect of the creature. So I will just be adding those with this darker tone, and that'll be what you'll see in this video. Once we've done the darkest tone, then we will come back later and look at the highlighted tones, like what are the whites, where are the white things that I see. So that isn't shown in this video, but we will talk about it later. And the highlights, the whites, you can use an acrylic paint or you can use a gesso to create those. You can even try using white ink. Sometimes I've found with white ink it doesn't have as strong of an opacity as like white acrylic paint. But you can always experiment and discover what you find works best. So again, I'm just finding all the shaded areas that are in my image, like finding where all those dark shadows are, but also considering texture of the creature and trying to get that fur effect by applying the darker lines in more of a fur texture. Again, this project we're looking at, the qualities of watercolor being a transparent paint. So the colors are always going to show, you'll see the stuff underneath. So you're always going to have that layering effect of the paints, something that you don't have in all paints that you use, that can be used. And so that's an interesting thing. And this is the wet on dry. So that's also, we're able to get really detailed lines, where with the wet on wet, you're a lot more exploring accidentals, or so much more of a fluid experiment. So I hope you're doing something creative today and exploring something painted with watercolor and enjoying yourself. All right, see you again.